order for Finance and Property Committee on June 7th, 2022 at 5:03. And notice was hereby given of regular meeting of the Finance Property Committee to be held in the council chambers at City Hall, 444 West Grand Avenue, Wisconsin Rapids, via remote video conferencing. Again, Tuesday, June 7th, 2022 at 5 p.m. The public may listen to the meeting by calling 1-312-626-6799, meeting ID 821-9130-4598. The meeting will also be streamed live on the City of Wisconsin Rapids Facebook page. This meeting is also available after its conclusion on the city's Facebook page and Community Media's YouTube page, which can be accessed at www.wr/ what's that called? Thank you, cm.org. Item number two, review and approve the estimate to purchase a,
Beverage.
yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just do these now, Paul.
All good.
Item number two, review and approve the estimate to purchase Beverage MG7 skid steer asphalt paver attachment.
All
Paul.
right, thank you. So referral is attached. As we were doing the exercise of updating our capital improvement plan for our equipment replacement plan last month, ran across a vendor that is no longer a vendor for this high tech as the manufacturer. PavyJet, it's a skid steer attachment that would switch our skid steer over to a small paver, for lack of better words, for asphalt patches. The company has had this attachment since 2017, and they've been using it as a demo unit. Over the last few years, I guess I didn't get into it too much, but I'm assuming because of COVID, they chose no longer to be a vendor for this company. But they have this 2017 unit that has had very little material and or anything run through it. And so when we were doing the equipment replacement plan for 2023, we have a line item in there for $50,000 because that's what a brand new one currently costs this year. And it's something that, in talking with the supervisors and some of the other employees, that this piece of equipment could, make us quicker and more cost effective on some of our larger patches and things like that. So I'm coming to the committee to request to, for the funds that it would take to purchase this used one and saving money, on our next year purchase. I have not gone and looked at the machine yet, but it's in just over the border in Illinois. And so we'd like to go look at it, but take the trailer with us to save on possible trucking costs to have it delivered back to Rapids. We're also going to look, there was a brand new machine that was delivered to a municipality between here and Milwaukee. They haven't given me the name yet. But we'd like to go look at the brand new machine to compare it to what this one looks like, and if it's too used or wore out or something like that, obviously we wouldn't purchase it then. But just looking, what typically happens, we've had some cost savings on pieces of equipment that we purchased here in 2022. And then our next item is another item to talk about. But we should have carryover funds from 2022 if things go as they normally do for purchases in 2023. So we shouldn't be in any issue with having the funds available to purchase it unless we do some drastic changes. So.
Questions?
So I think I probably asked you this before, but does this run off the hydraulics of the machine, or does it have its own?
It runs off the hydraulics of the machine.
And how do you feed this thing? And you can feed more than just asphalt, correct? You can use it
Correct.
for other stuff.
Yep, you can run, sand through it, blacktop through it. So just like a regular hopper on a paver, It dumps into the front. It's got an auger then that augers the material over to the shoulder. It's just a mini version of a shouldering machine is what I would like to call it as. The newer versions have sensors on them, you know, that would run the auger automatically. I believe this machine also has that on there, but I can't tell through the pictures.
Dean?
So, would that remove the other item from next year's budget then completely?
Correct, yep.
Then I
yep.
think,
So,
as far as I'm concerned, great job on finding it.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any further discussions? Seeing none, we'll put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it.
Nice work, Paul.
thank you. Well, let's see, hopefully it's worth it.
Item number 3, discuss and take action on a procedure on fleet purchases. Paul?
Okay, if you remember back in February, I came to this committee in regards to purchasing equipment for 2022 and then wanting to purchase 2 multi-axle dump trucks for 2023. We've had some discussions between Mayor Blazer and myself and Tim. With today's volatile pricing on parts, iron, everything like that, people are willing to give you a price today, and then what that price does is that gives you a slot. But then once your slot is pulled, they're then looking at the price or the price of materials at that time, and it's very possible that the price that they gave you 6 months ago, 8 months ago, no longer exists. You know, and when we come to the committee, we typically give you a price of, you know, like I just did for $25,000 to purchase a used, you know, paver, and that's what we try to come in under. What we're struggling with is how do we continue to do business that way when I'm not guaranteed a price, you know, 9 months down the road. And so, you know, we just want to be upfront with the committee to say this is the issues that we're having. And, you know, I don't know if we really had a solution to the problem, but it's everything. It's vehicles. You know, I can get a price for a vehicle that is sitting on the lot today and then order the exact same vehicle, but they will not guarantee the price on that, you know, until the vehicle is picked up to be built. Then again, they look at everything, the pricing and things like that, and at that time, that's when they give me the price. And they didn't say for certain. The first of all, you know, we can only get one vendor to even give us municipal pricing. Other vendors don't even have that existing right now because they're willing to make trucks that they can sell for $65,000 instead of our municipal discount. You know, so that's one of the issues that we're having. But the hardest part is we're not buying traditional vehicles that Joe Blow Public will go and purchase off of the lot. You know, we're buying work trucks, and so they're somewhat hesitant to say, yeah, if you don't take the truck, we'll just put it on our lot, because some of them, number one, they can't do that because their manufacturer doesn't want them to, but it's also a vehicle that's somewhat non-standard. So we're looking to see, you know, we recognize that there's higher risk right now. So when I came to you guys back in February, you know, we had a list of 7 trucks. We've chosen to back off of that and just purchase the 3 or 4 trucks that we really need to. And the other ones where we were going to try to, you know, flip it according to what Enterprise said would be cost effective for us. We're going to back away from that until this volatile pricing, you know, dies down, if it ever does, you know, but we're just going to replace what we need to right now, which is, like I say, 3, maybe 4. I have to talk with the shop on the 4th one to see whether or not we need to or not on the 4th one, but just trying to, you know, because we really don't have 30 days to say, okay, we're going to build this truck right now. This is what the price is. I don't really have 30 days to come back to the committee and say, hey, this vehicle that you approved at 39,500 is now 44,000. I did talk to him, and they said that there's been, he doesn't foresee it being more than a 10% increase. You know, so I don't know if we give us the latitude, you know, for the mayor to approve that as long as it doesn't exceed the 10%. I don't know, Tim, if you have a better idea.
Well, I guess the question is once you order the vehicle, are you committed to purchase that?
It's the way it sounded, yes, because of it
So
not
then,
being
you know,
traditional.
we don't know what it's going to be. So basically, what we're in a situation where it's an open-ended cost. You know, here's the price today, but we don't know if it's going to be 5%, 10%, 15%, and even if we got, you know, authority to purchase up to 10%, once we place that order, we're committed.
Correct.
From what I understand. So that's the kind of the crux we're in, is that if we order these vehicles, we can't get we don't know what the final cost is going to be. We have authority at the February Finance and Council eventual approval of X, but as soon as we place that order, it could be Y and it could be 5, 10, 15%, and we don't know. And so that's where we're kind of like in the situation is like, I really don't know what you can do, because once you place the order, basically you're committing to that purchase price, and basically there is no council approval of a total amount, and that's where we're kind of, and so we kind of said, well, let's put it on the agenda so we could discuss it with the finance and eventual council to see what, the finance committee and council's thoughts are on how we should proceed.
Yeah, and I agree that, ordering what we absolutely need to order, and then, yeah, basically, and we just want to make you aware that, what you approved on a purchase price will not most likely be that price. It'll be close, but we just want to make you aware of that, though, so down the road, it's not a surprise to you, should that price change.
Maybe,
Yeah.
I guess, it's, it would be like maybe take action on, proceed with the, what is it, the 4, whatever that you want to do it, an authority to purchase those, but obviously there's going to be no definitive dollar amount charged to that, because obviously if you say to purchase these 4 vehicles at this cost, more than likely, with the way the environment is, it'll be more than that. So I don't know if it's just a matter of just, if the finance committee and ultimate council is, comfortable with just proceeding with the purchase of the necessary pieces of equipment, we're holding off on the other ones until we get a little bit more clarity on the pricing structure, lead times, and things like that. If you would be comfortable making a motion just to go ahead and purchase this without knowing what the final cost is going to be.
So you said that these already, what does it mean we've committed? Did we sign anything, or did we just say we want these trucks?
No, we haven't. So that's been the best part about it is it was approved in February. Every single month since February, I've gone to the vendors and said, is there municipal pricing? And every single month, they had said, what I had said before is, no, there's no municipal pricing yet, because they're trying to get caught up on these, traditional vehicles that they're selling for $60,000. Now, as of the 26th of last month, they're opening it up for municipal orders based off of the 2022 pricing, which we approved back in February. But all the orders that are placed as of today are going to be 2023s. And they don't necessarily have the pricing on those yet until they start to build them.
So do you feel like they're playing, I don't know if hardball is the right way to look at it or the right term for it, but do you feel like they're trying to, there's a lot of that going on right now. People know they can roll, just charge more because, like you said, you got these people paying absorbent prices for just a truck. And I
Well,
guess we don't want to necessarily just roll over right away either if we
Correct.
have leverage.
Yep, and it's not just in the pickups either. Like I say, we approved to also purchase these 2 quad axle dump trucks. That industry is the exact same way also. because it's just so crazy, he had said that traditionally it's a 2% per quarter price increase. But there was 2 quarters, I believe he said it was the fourth and the third quarter, or the fourth and the fourth quarter in 2021, which would still these 2022 models. In the first quarter of 2022, they saw 6% price increases, which he's been selling cars for a long period of time and doesn't ever remember seeing a 6% price increase. So I don't know if they're just being overly cautious, to try to continue. Like I say, it's only one manufacturer that I can even get municipal pricing from, so.
So you are saying though that we can kind of back off of a lot of the stuff that we wanted to buy and kind of let.
Correct.
Again,
yeah.
it is going to level out at some point.
Exactly,
Nobody
yeah.
has a crystal ball on it, but
Right,
I
and
would
that's
say
where in 2022, originally in February, we approved to purchase 7 trucks. And I'm thinking for sure 3, and there may be a 4th one. I just need to talk with Mark to make sure that it's not getting any worse or whatever. So we would break it down to 40%, if not 50% of what we were originally going to do.
and I would say if we haven't signed anything or committed to anything, just keep your leverage and
Right.
don't do that until you have to do it, I guess. That
Correct.
would be my take on it. Not that you don't know this stuff already, but
Like I said, I just wanted to be open and honest about how all this stuff is going. It's been, like I said, since February that I've every single month been having conversations with the 3 vendors that we normally deal with. And it's finally, here in June, we can do something, but it's only with one. But he still hasn't given me a definitive price yet either as to how much difference it was from, because it won't be until it get picked up. And I'm still working with another vendor that thought maybe by the end of this week that they would have pricing, so I have not signed anything anywhere. And just for clarity, these are not, never mind. I did already, sorry.
So Tim, if we didn't purchase these vehicles now, or some of them, not all of them, we would roll that money over year by year
Yeah.
until we can use it to purchase.
Right,
what
on
we
the
need.
fleet replacement, similar to our other replacement accounts, is that, if you remember back, I think it was March, we had that carryover resolution. That's an annual thing where money we put aside each year for the purchase of equipment, so, some types of equipment, whatever's unspent, we carry that over. And the theory behind that is so that, we don't have, peaks and valleys in our budget for equipment. Because one year you might purchase a lot of equipment, the next year you might not have to. So we kind of budget the average and we carry those funds forward. So anything that we don't spend, it's a dedicated account
Okay.
for the purchase of this will be carried over into 2023.
So the biggest risk we run at this point is if we lock it in now and purchase, it could go down in the next year or two, or if we don't lock it in, it could go up. And then we're always playing. It's like gambling. So what you're asking from us is how much wiggle room are we giving you exactly to lock in if you feel appropriate? Shane?
I don't think
Mr. Blazer?
you're not locking in price, right? We're given a price now, and that may not be the price in 6 months from now. So we're really not, we're getting, right now it costs this, but we can't guarantee in 6 months it's going to cost that. So we're really kind of not locking in a price. So we're not kind of playing the market. So, we are playing the market is if we order a truck now in 6 months, it may be a different price. But if we keep holding off, eventually it'll settle down. And that's why I think another good thing that we do is we spread out our vehicles, so we're not purchasing them all in 1 year. And so I think we also want to watch out so we're not like pushing off things into 1 year and then we're replacing a whole bunch of vehicles. So at some point I think we have to pull the pin, but like what Paul's doing is taking a look at it and looking at replacing absolutely what we need to replace, and we'll hold off a little bit on some of the other ones. Correct? Well, kind of that's, yeah. But yeah, we're not locking in a price,
Okay.
unfortunately.
All right.
Yeah,
So it gives you, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, a family member, they're doing destination charges like crazy now too. Family member ordered the new Bronco about 6 months ago. They just got it at $8,000 destination charge. It wasn't on it when they ordered it. I mean, it's a lot to do with it's the chip thing and the supply chain. So soon, and yeah, once they level, it's the chip problem that they don't have any chips, so they don't have any cars. So once that levels off, you would think this would change.
Yeah.
So I think that strategy is a good one.
Jay?
So right now you've got one vendor, and I hope it's local, correct? Okay.
Yeah, for these ones, these are just traditional pickup trucks. Past history is we never leave Wisconsin Rapids for pickup trucks. We go outside of town if we need to for our 1 tons because most of the local vendors aren't medium to large truck vendors, so they can't sell us those anyways.
So if the supply chain thing clears up in the next 6 months and price goes down, when we come to pick these vehicles up, that'll reflect that possibly?
The way it sounds, yes. Like I said, you go in and you sign up that I'm going to purchase this truck. This is the estimated price as today, but then when the truck starts to get built, that's when they give you the actual price of the truck then. Which, like I said, I don't have my understanding of it, and I'll continue to ask questions so I better understand it is I just don't have those, they'll pick up the truck Monday to build it. I don't have the time to come back to committee and say, hey, you guys approved this truck at $39,000, it's now $40,000, or, that's just my understanding of the system is that we don't have the luxury to come back and say there was a 2% price increase or whatever, so.
And I guess, so that's the question right now that you're asking is how much can you go up without bringing it to committee, or that's not what
I guess
we're,
I'm just bringing it to your guys' attention, and I don't know that there is a number that I can put it on,
Right.
and
go ahead, Jay.
I'm ready to make a motion if you,
Yeah, I think I'm just a little confused as to what we're being asked of right now.
so how about if we go up to 4 vehicles as spec? And the price
as
is?
spec.
As you spec them out, yes.
Okay.
It is what it is.
I'll second the motion.
I guess the only thing is then you're gonna use your judgment on that 4th vehicle, correct?
Yeah,
Okay,
and obviously I'll have conversations with both Shane and Tim on it also.
okay.
I guess the only one thing I would do is request 4 pickups and then the multi-axle trucks, because those are the same situation. So it would be a total of 4 pickup trucks out of the 7 originally, and then the 2 multi-axles. But we can totally wait on the multi-axles
We
if you
can-
want,
we
because
can-
that's supposed to be 18 months to get it, so.
No, and we can include those, all right, up to 4 pickups as spec and 2 multi-axle trucks as spec.
Yep.
There's my motion.
Do we need any more clarification on the motion?
I don't think you can, because we're kind of stuck, right? It'd be nice to have a price, but we're just unfortunately at this time, we're not able to do that.
All right. So maybe I shouldn't have seconded it right away, but I'm going to go ahead. We added in the 2
Multi-axle truck.
multi-axle trucks as spec, and I am seconding that motion.
Okay.
Any further conversation or questions? Seeing none, I move to a vote. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it. Number 4, consider for approval a taxi cab license renewal application from Randy Wayas for Gotta Go Taxi LLC. Jennifer.
We are waiting for police department approval on this and also his vehicle inspection report, but we do have the insurance. So contingent upon him providing those 2 things prior to council, our recommendation is to approve.
Move to approve based on receiving the proper credentials.
I have a motion and a second. Any further conversation, questions? Seeing none, I put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Item 5, consider a resolution to reimburse Wood County for the actual cost of purchasing 2 ES and S express votes at an estimated cost per unit as spelled out on the attached intergovernmental agreement. Jennifer.
The express votes are the ADA machines for voting. We have to have them. They are required. What the county is going to do, ES&S won't sell it to us individually as a municipality. They want the county to purchase all of the units for the county, and then we will reimburse the county at the cost specified on the agreement for the actual prices. We have the money set aside in one of the carryover accounts that Tim was talking about for this, but this is to approve us actually paying the county, reimbursing them for the machines.
Are these replacement machines or?
Yes, they're replacing machines that are about, they're like 15 years old at least. And we don't have a choice, we have to do it.
Is
So-
this, these are just out of curiosity questions, I guess.
Yeah,
'cause
sure.
I'm not
No,
part
go
of the
ahead.
process. Are these updated machines that are, latest and greatest?
Yes,
versus
they
the
are.
15-year-old ones?
No, these are updated, latest and greatest, a lot more easy to use, and they're a lot smaller, so they're easier to set up and easier to access.
How many citywide do we have?
We have 3 because we used to have 3 polling places. We now have 2 polling places, so we are only ordering 2.
Okay, so it's actually covering the whole city.
Yes. Tim, did you have anything to add to the payment part of it?
No, I mean, on an annual basis, we've always been putting $2,500 aside in the budget. We accumulate it in the replacement for, exactly this type of purchase that we know eventually down the road, we're gonna have to replace those machines. We also use those monies for the new voting booths, right? So currently, we have about $13,000 in the account, so it'd be sufficient to cover the 2 purchases of the machines.
Are there
Move
any?
to approve then the voting machines or the reimbursement to the county.
I'll second the motion. Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, I put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Number 6, item 6, consider approval of the 2022-2023 Class A liquor, Class A beer, Class B liquor, Class B beer, and Class C wine alcohol licenses. Consider sending notices of non-renewal or denial for those licenses who are not qualified to hold a license because of delinquencies or other disqualifications and other reasons for non-renewal. And I believe this would be contingent upon the full payment by those who are getting the licenses by the end of June.
That's correct.
Any questions or comments? At this time, I'll make a motion to approve the motion as it's presented. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, I put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Item number 7, consider for approval a temporary retail Class B fermented malt beverages license and temporary retail Class B wine license for the Central Wisconsin Cultural Center, Inc. at 2651 A Street South for a live music on the patio event to be held on February, July 8th, 2022, from 6 PM to 9 PM.
So
Jay.
this is at least the second time they've come to us. Is this a scheduling thing that they don't know month to month? Or if they're gonna do this all summer, could they just come in once and?
They could. I do have the events for, let me see which ones they are. The open mic events for the rest of the year. I had them all on there the first month they did this, and it was decided to split them up. So if you guys want me to do it all at once, I'm happy to do that.
It doesn't matter, it really doesn't matter, I don't think. The only thing is, I thought for them to plan, I mean,
Sure.
I don't foresee any problems with this,
Okay,
but it would probably be easier for them to plan.
it would be.
Why was it decided to split them up? There's a reason behind that?
Because they're individual events and they should be considered that way. That was the, I
Is
don't know,
it-
this
is-
was back in January, I think it was.
Is this on the books that it should be done that
No,
way?
no, you
No.
guys can consider them all at once. The committee just made the decision to do it that way at the time. So if you want them done all at once, I'm happy to do that next month, just give you everything.
Well, I'll move to approve this, but I think that's a good idea. If
Okay.
we can do that all next month.
They'll be happy. They want to do it all at once.
Good.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I'll second the motion. Any other further questions or comments? Seeing none, I put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Right.
All right.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Item 8, consider for approval a temporary retail Class B fermented malt beverages license for the Central Wisconsin Cultural Center, Inc. at 2651 A Street South for a garden art exhibit event to be held on Thursday, July 14th, 2022, from 5:30 PM to 7:30 PM. I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, I put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Right.
All right.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Item number 9, consider for approval the temporary retail Class B fermented malt beverages license for Central Wisconsin Cultural Center, Inc. at 2651 A Street South for an open mic event to be held on Friday, July 29th, 2022, from 7 PM until 10 PM.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, I put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Item number 10, consider for approval a special event application, street closure request, and temporary retail Class B fermented malt beverage license application for the Heart of Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce, Inc. at 1120 Lincoln Street for an outdoor, off-the-clock event to be held on Wednesday, July 13th, 2022, from 4 PM to 6 PM at Shopmaster located at 850 Rosecrans Street. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Right.
All right.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Item number 11, consider a request from Johnny's LLC doing business as Johnny's Bar, Josh Petrone, agent, to temporarily extend the alcohol license premises located at 2610 A Street South to include an outdoor area as shown on the attached map on Friday, July 22nd and Saturday, July 23rd, 2022, from 6 PM until 2 AM, and for a noise variance for an indoor DJ until 1 AM on both nights. Does anyone have any questions or comments for Josh or
I have a
anyone else?
question. This is the same event you've done for, wanna- you want to come up and pitch your event? You want to come up and pitch your event?
So I'm getting rid of the tent this year. I'm not doing the tent. We're gonna downscale a little bit, try it just inside with the patio and a DJ, no bands or anything this year. We're doing the extension of the premises thing just for stragglers that, because there's gonna be a lot of people there, I'm assuming, just so they can legally be standing in the parking lot with their drink.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Any other questions or comments at this time? Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it. Seeing none, I put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Thank you. Item number 12, consider for approval the appointment of Gerald Jackie Velasquez as successor agent for the retail Class B fermented malt beverages and Class B intoxicating liquor licenses for headquarters, Bar of Wisconsin, Rapids, Inc., doing business as headquarters bar for the premises located at 140 2nd Street North. Jennifer?
This item and the next two are just considering a successor of agent. The agent is the person that is in charge of the alcohol, orders the alcohol, et cetera. And so it's just changing the person, but we have to get finance approval for that and council approval. So that's what these are, just changing the person.
And if they've been brought here, everything's in order already.
That's correct. They've been checked out by, they've done, had a background check done, and also we submit it to the court, municipal court clerk, because if they have any back fines, they have to pay those first, which there aren't any issues with either one of those.
Okay.
So we recommend you approve.
Thank you. Hearing that,
I'll move to approve 12 through 13, or 12 through 14, if we can do that then.
do they need to be read?
I probably would read them, but you can consider them all at once. But if you want to read the other two, that's,
So let me go ahead and read
Yep.
them, and then we'll approve them at the same
Okay.
time. Item number 13, consider for approval the appointment of Rhonda Ann Erlub as successor agent for the retail Class A fermented malt beverages and Class A intoxicating liquor licenses for GPM Southeast LLC, doing business as Bread and Butter Shop number 4532 for the premises located at 2130 A Street South. And item 14, consider for approval the appointment of Rhonda Ann Erlub as successor agent for the retail Class A fermented malt beverages and Class A intoxicating liquor licenses for GPM Southeast LLC, doing business as Bread and Butter Shop number 4533 for the premises located at 1740 17th Avenue South. And the motion on the table has been to approve items 12 through 14 as written. I'll second that motion. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, I put it to vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Number 15, consider closing the following streets and suspending the open container ordinances for these streets and adjoining sidewalks for the city's 2022 4th of July event from 3 p.m. to 11:59 p.m. on Monday, July 4th, 2022, or the 4th of July fireworks rain date. These streets include Second Street from East Jackson Street to Mead Street, Mead, Locust, Witter, Pine, Walnut, Maple, and Birch Streets from 2nd Street South to 3rd Street South, Oak Street from Second Street North to Third Street North, First Street North from East Jackson Street to Second Street North, Grand Avenue from Third Street to Third Avenue, First Avenue South from West Grand Avenue to Chase Street, Johnson and Goggins Streets from First Avenue South to Third Avenue South, and Second Avenue South from West Grand Avenue to Johnson Street. Any questions or comments? I entertain a motion to approve. I'll make a second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I put it to vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Number 16, consider a recommendation from statewide services to deny a claim from Waste Management for alleged damages to their building by a city-owned truck on 9/8/2021. Paul?
Yeah, this is just for a recycling truck damaged the transfer station at Waste Management, or allegedly, sorry. We had, actually, I believe that Joe Terry and Dustin Gessert, who at the time was a supervisor, inspected the building and inspected our trucks, and there was pictures that were taken. We provided statewide services, who are our insurance companies, the information, and they agreed with us that they didn't feel that we had caused the damage to it, so they're just rejecting the claim.
Shane?
So the reason why you're doing this is because by denying the claim, you're starting a timeline of how much time they can appeal it. If you don't deny it, they could appeal it for years to come. So it's a statutory thing that you're doing.
Okay.
So historically, I've never seen a claim approved. It's just more to start the statutory process of the next step, or the appeal process should they want to take the next step.
Tim?
Right, based on, we file the claim with the insurance whenever we get, and they do their investigation. If they find there's no negligence or fault by the city, they recommend denial of the claim to shorten the statutory limitations to 6 months, where, if the claimant still wants to pursue it, they have 6 months to actually pursue it for legal action. If obviously through the investigation, it's found to be the city's at fault or whatever, then, then our insurance company will pay the claim. So usually you only see this as these types of actions on the finances is when, through the investigation, both internally here at the city and by our insurance services, they find that the city was not at fault.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any other questions or comments?
The motion is to approve the denial of the claim.
Sorry.
Is that the motion?
Yes.
I mean, that's what was written. So yes, I'm motioning to approve what was written. And it was seconded.
Approve the denial.
Yes. Any other questions or comments, Jay? Seeing none, I put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Number 17, 2023 budget discussion. Paul. I'm sorry, Tim. I wasn't ready.
I want the trucks.
Okay, as I passed out tonight, 2023 budget projection, kind of like we had discussed earlier, of kind of getting ahead of the process here, starting the process a little earlier. So I put together a document, and I'll just kind of briefly go through it. I don't expect any really in-depth discussion, because obviously you have not reviewed the document or whatever, but I'm just introducing it tonight. It's pretty much fresh off the presses today. So if you turn to page 2, on the budget projection, this kind of just lists some of the assumptions that I used. Obviously, I can't project out every line item, every expenditure account, so I just kind of wanted to give us a kind of a broader look at where the budget is kind of headed with some of the known things, that I expect to appear in the 2023 budget. So I adjusted the 2022 budget for the wage adjustments that the council approved, I do believe, last month, and we have some negotiated contracts of 3%. So I factored that into the 2022 budget, so I adjusted that as a starting point, and obviously those cost of living adjustments then will carry forward into the 2023 wages and benefits. Also, last month, the council approved a 3.4% reduction in health insurance premiums, so that was factored in the 22 budget as well as the 2023 budget projection. For the health insurance, it was like around $50,000. I mean, it's so. 2023 budget assumptions. Now, what I did for the budget projection is I only included the funds that are basically impacted by the property tax levy and debt proceeds and are not legally committed. So those are the ones that, if the council chose, they could make adjustments. Funds such as tax incremental districts, the sewer utility, because it's proprietary and it's funded by the sewer use fee, the debt service fund, because obviously we're committed to those debt service payments. So those are, those, we don't have a choice to reduce those obvious committed payments. And so I came up with the funds listed there that kind of make up the budget that really drives the property tax levy and the rest of the budget that, obviously there can be adjustments made there if the council saw fit. And I also listed for your information, kind of the budget funds that aren't included in the projection. And you can see debt service fund, room tax, because those are committed dollars for a specified purpose, and 70% of that goes to the Visitors and Conventions Bureau, so I'd include that. Grants and donations, obviously when we get a grant or a donation for a specified purpose, we don't really have a choice to spend it on something other than the intended purpose. So to kind of simplify the projection, I left that fund out. The Mass Transit Fund, it has about a $61,000 tax levy impact, but that's such a small port to the the $500,000 that we receive in federal and state funding. And so in order to receive that funding, obviously we have to have a local match, so I excluded that. The capital projects funds, because those are specified. Yep.
Was that the mass transit? Are we talking about the
Cab service.
cab service?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Capital projects fund, there wasn't much in there. That was just that's where we account for when we construct like the aquatic center, East Side Riverbank, and the fire station renovations. So those are one-time monies that, and I don't anticipate there to be anything budgeted in that fund going forward unless the council would approve a separate project. The tax incremental districts that I referred to, 6, 7, and 8, aren't included for that. And the municipal building improvement fund, because those are just really carryover funds that we've had from previous years for building improvements, and we have not had new money budgeted in that for a while. Not saying that in the 2023 budget process, if there's a request made, it'll be funded, but just to kind of keep the projection as simplified as possible, I left that out because it really doesn't impact the projection numbers. Also in the 2022 budget, I adjusted for an increase in wages and benefits based on some of the union contracts that settled. So kind of similar to 2022, I wanted to show the impact of those wage increases in 2023. WRS rates, workers' compensation rates, I kept those the same. We don't really know where those are going to come in. Workers' comps have been pretty stable, and actually WRS rates up to this point have been very good, if flat, if not a slight decrease. But I'm kind of suspecting with the way the market is going, because obviously the WRS and the actuarial assumptions used to calculate those rates takes in a lot of market returns, and so I'm not sure exactly how that's going to impact rates. Previous years when we've had kind of a down market, those rates have kind of gone up to compensate for the loss of investment earnings that they use to factor in those contribution rates. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see an uptick in those rates, but at this point, it's kind of an unknown. I'm not an actuary. I'm not going to sure where they're going to come in. And for simplicity, just because not knowing, operating outlay expenditures remain flat unless there was a one-time expenditure. You know, the thing with that is obviously we know with just kind of the way the current environment is with inflation, you know, we could see some upticks in some of the, you know, material type costs. But, you know, I don't know how that's going to be offset by some other maybe reductions of one-time operating expenditures that were previous. So I kind of left those flat just so, you know, because I can't predict every line item. As we go through the budget process and department heads start to compile their budgets, then we'll kind of start to see, and they start checking on prices, we'll start to see, you know, what the impact on operating will be. Let's see, and then if there's any expenditure or revenue adjustments that aren't detailed in the assumptions, as you go through the projection, I tried to point those out if I made a change to something, you know, and the reason for that. So you'll see that throughout the projection. And then the Public Works Construction Fund, we worked with engineering to come up with, you know, what the anticipated 2023 projects are. Got cost estimates, so those new projects are incorporated into the projection and not based on 2022. They're actually 2023 projects with some estimated project costs. And, you know, and the big assumption is that this projection in 2023 does not utilize debt proceeds to fund those street construction projects.
Can you repeat that, Tim? That last part there?
The projection does not include the issuance of debt to fund the street construction project, because I know that was a topic of discussion in the 2022 budget. So basically the projection is showing what the impact would be if we chose not to borrow for those street construction projects and funded it through other sources, mainly the property tax levy.
Okay.
Sure, you can.
I guess also another item that's not in the budget, but is going to need to be discussed, and it'll probably have to go through the HR committee and then finance, you know, through this process, is I met probably about a month ago with the fire department. They have a desire to add 6 new staff members there, 3 through a grant, and then 3 through the budget. So they have a presentation, but that has not been included in this. So I just want to let you know that that's out there also.
Okay, so should we talk about this further now, or is that going to be a
I think it'd probably be
conversation
better to talk about it once that process goes through. But I think it's important that this is done concurrently with the budget, because it does have an effect on that. And it's a request. So at that point is whether or not, you know, it's feasible within the budget. That'll be that discussion. But we did not include it in here, but we wanted to let you know that it's outstanding. In all fairness to them, is you know, they do have a presentation that they would like to present, and I think at that time it'd be more prudent to kind of go through it at that point.
And that presentation is ready to go, or?
They do have one, correct? I have seen the PowerPoint presentation or the slides of it, and I think it'd probably start out at HR and then go to finance for funding, and there's also a grant involved, and they can kind of explain that more to you, but it still will have a direct impact on the budget, should it be approved.
So we should hold off on questions right now until we see
Yeah.
the presentation.
Yep, and then you can formulate questions and concerns at that point.
So then can we look for earlier presentation than that would normally be? Since we've been trying to ask the budget to be an earlier presentation,
Yep.
we've tried to move up this calendar.
Absolutely,
So I think we should try to move up the calendar of that presentation, so,
absolutely.
okay.
Because it'll be it'll all be rolled into this budget, you know, and so, and that discussion, because it is going to definitely have an impact should you decide to fund the 3 positions through the levy.
Is there a date on the presentation yet, or no?
Nope, and that's what we need to talk to HR committee about,
Okay.
and then also have conversation with the fire department to make sure they're ready for that, and then do that presentation.
Just I guess I got to ask this question now.
Yep.
If 3 are employed through a grant, the grant is only going to last for so long, correct?
3 years.
And then it's on the,
Well, they can reapply for the grant for another 3.
typically though, it's,
They've changed the grant because it used to have a step down. So the first year is 100%, or was it the first 2? Yeah, it was the first 2. You had to commit to 1 year where the city paid for it, but now they've kind of changed that grant to.
Yeah, and I think it was, that, the grant terms were too, is like once the grant expired, that you had to commit to fund the positions for a certain amount of period
Correct.
after the grant period, but
That's gone away where now it's fully funding for 3 years, and then they'll explain it, and then they can reapply to get another 3 years, or if the city chooses to fund those 3 positions, or they could be laid off at that point potentially.
Okay.
But I think there's definitely a greater discussion here because
Yeah.
of the impact on the budget.
okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
right, yeah, I mean, the projection was based on the currently approved allocated positions. Obviously, this is one of those things that has to go to the HR committee to, to consider those positions and things like that. Obviously, I have a rough cost on what that would be depending on, but, obviously that if those were approved and incorporated, obviously it's, it's a significant, budget impact as far as, incorporating into the current budget.
Were you thinking to go through more of this packet, or what are your thoughts?
Well, I'm just going to kind of give you an overview. I don't know how
Yep.
much detail you want me to go into, and
Yeah, I don't think, yeah, I think an overview would be good.
yep,
If
I'm
you
just
could-
going to kind of walk you through just kind of what it is. And so starting on page 3 is all those funds that are incorporated in the budget. I'm kind of showing the 2022 budget as well as the 2023 projected budget and the changes in those. And like I said, any really budget change that you see kind of that isn't, isn't noted is wage and benefit changes in 23 based on the assumption of the contracts that were settled. We have 3-year contracts, or at least one approved 3-year contract, and we anticipate another one. So that's pages 3, 4, 5 through page 7. As you see, kind of some of down there, if you see a significant change, I kind of noted it down there. I know it's kind of, I need my readers, I forgot to bring them, kind of small print, but I'm going to email each of the alderpersons the PDF, so it's a little bit easier to kind of read as opposed to the paper copy. So I'll get that off. Pages 8, 9, and 10 kind of show the revenues, the corresponding revenues, and any assumptions that were made there. And they're noted. So, and then if you turn to page 11, this is where kind of now I started with the detail. Now I'm kind of summarizing it and bringing it down and showing, that by fund all the different, expenditures for the different funds, and then I kind of break out what the kind of category is. Also, if you'll notice in the 2023 budget projection, I did break out wages and benefits and operating expenses, so you can kind of get a feel for, how much is wages, benefits, how much is operating expenses, and and the difficulty part of that is that we have equipment rates and things like that, and there's labor built into some of those internal charges. We have to break them out and add them up, but I think it's a fairly accurate depiction of what the wages and benefits are, the percentage of total budget, and also operating expenditures. And like I said, as you're going through this, if you have any questions, please email or call me. I'm happy to kind of answer any questions with those. And then you'll see on page 12 is the revenue summary. And here I don't break it out by fund, but I break it out more by source that makes up all the various funding sources. And if you kind of go down to the bottom, you'll see, with obviously the property tax levy, showing, the property taxes for the projected is 13.4 million. Then the 2 funds that aren't in this, but or we're committed to, is the mass transit fund of 61,000 and debt service fund of $2.1 million, which leaves a projected property tax levy of 15.6. I also, you'll see in the next page, I calculate a levy limit calculation that, we're limited by how much we can levy each year. And then you'll see the amount that we're over the levy is $1.8 million. And so that's what, and that's basically based on the, probably one of the biggest assumption in the projection is if we don't fund street construction with debt proceeds and it goes on the tax levy, obviously that's going to increase our tax levy because in previous years it was debt proceeds, and then obviously then that puts us over our levy limit. And then if we chose to not borrow for streets, we would have to come up with about $1.8 million, at least at this point. Obviously, once we get into the budget, it's more confirmed. That could go up or down depending on how some of the departmental budgets come in specifically. But this kind of just gives us an idea of what we're kind of looking at. And I think that was kind of the whole point of the exercise at this point in the year. If you go to page 13, that's where I calculate out the levy limit estimate. The big thing as far as the levy limit calculation is, you get a credit for net new construction. So whatever percentage of net new construction is of your equalized value, you're able to increase your property tax levy by that amount. So obviously, we don't get that till July, sometime in July. So basically what I did is I estimated based on a 5-year average. I excluded last year because that included Metelco, which was kind of a lot of growth for us. That wasn't the norm. So I took the previous 5 years, averaged it out to kind of come up with an estimate of what that might be. Now that number could go up or down based on that. And obviously then you also are allowed to adjust your property taxes by the change in your debt service adjustment. So our debt service went up by $143,000, so you're able to add that on to, which translated into the levy limit estimate at this point of $13.7 million. Now, if you flip over to the next page, I estimated our 2022 tax rate, and that's the 2022 tax rate payable in 23. It's always a year behind that. And so based on our debt service tax rate and our operating levy, and then also I estimated that based on that net new construction number and then ratioing it down because it's based on equalized, I came up with our estimated assessed value, and then when you take that $13.7 million levy limit calculation, that translates into the 2022 rate of $13.06, which is about approximately a 1% increase over the previous year. So in a nutshell, and then also I just kind of just for your information, I included a tax rate history. I think it's about a 10-year tax rate history, just so that you guys can be back. So, I mean, that's kind of the projection. Obviously, I don't expect a lot of conversation on tonight because you just got it, but I think it's something that, as we review it, we can set up some future meetings, and obviously, I'd be willing to answer any questions, or we can have discussions on some of the assumptions that are incorporated in this. On page 15, just so you know, I included the 2023 anticipated public construction projects, just so that you kind of know what's making up that, each year that changes. So, based on what engineering had provided, I thought that would just be good information so you kind of guys know what we're anticipating, what kind of projects we're going to do in 2023. And I think just to point out is that, we normally have 3 to 4 street, storm, sanitary, water main projects, and those kind of, depending on the scope of the project, but those kind of are fairly stable. We try to keep the same level of amount from year to year. But you'll see the concrete pavement patching and joint sealing increase significantly in 2023, and I do believe that they're planning to work on the expressway, and that amount went up from usually $200,000 to almost $600,000. So that was a big $400,000 increase for the concrete pavement patching on the expressway that's anticipated in 2023. I know they still need DOT approval for that, but I think they're working with them.
So any repairs on the expressway are on the city?
Yes.
Otherwise, they won't get done, and then we're looking at.
Well, I mean, we get connecting highway aids that the state gives for maintenance on, whatever they're responsible for. And, and we maintain them. And the thing is that, the ironic thing, I think, is that if you do a good job of maintaining it, they say we don't need to reconstruct it because it's not in that condition. Then if you don't maintain it, it goes, you get complaints and things like that, but it may speed up the replacement for it. But, how that works, but, I think it's, A Street's another prime example of, maintaining that, but at what point does it get reconstructed? But then the DOT will come back and says, well, it's not in a condition that needs replacement at this point. So,
Catch-22.
I mean, I don't deal with this directly, but just kind of with listening to conversations, it's kind of like my view on it is like, yeah, I mean, you're kind of in a catch-22. If you maintain it well, they're not going to reconstruct it. If you don't maintain it, well, yeah, the road
gonna be
is in
tough.
poor condition. You get a lot of local complaints, but that doesn't guarantee that the state will replace it. So engineering can speak much more eloquently to
Yeah.
that than I can.
Mayor Blazer.
Yeah, I would happen to agree. I was going to expound a little bit, but this section between Grand Avenue and Chase is breaking down and it's almost turning to gravel. And so between Joe and Paul talking, the thought is working with the state and see if the state would help out at all, but to pull that up and asphalt it to hold us over until they actually get to that point to replace it, because we're starting to replace patches already. So the patches of, like Tim said, some of these stretches have really outlived their life, and we've come in, we've done our due diligence to patch them, to maintain them, and now those patches are starting to break down. And now what? It seems kind of ridiculous to be replacing patches on a road that really they should be taking a little more of aggressive stance on fixing. And we're working with them and trying to speed up some things, but that section of the road is probably getting to be pretty bad. So that's kind of why that number's like that, and trying to figure out how we can fund it and see how we can make that a better ride. Thank you.
Thank you. Ian? Anybody? I just wanted to say, I know this is an extra step added in there, but I think it's going to put us as a council in a much better position to be able to at least understand what we're voting for at the end of the year. So I do appreciate the extra work that you're doing. Tim, thank you for that, and Shane. Yep.
Yeah, I think it's also important to remind council members is that, this is the finance committee, but there are 5 other council members, and we encourage you to participate through the process, and don't feel like you have to wait till November to say something or to get involved. We want to make sure that you're asking questions, putting your input from this point going forward versus waiting till the budget hearing.
Yeah. Yeah, Tim, I wish I was the guy that could just read this and follow it, but it takes me a few times to kind of go through it and definitely be able to ask some questions and just be on the same page. And hopefully we're able to find some good things in it that can help us make better decisions so everybody's happy at the end of the year. So.
And also, it's like if, as you're going through this, if there's any other information that you want, I can't, it's hard to anticipate what, please let me know. I'm willing to provide any information that any of the older persons, want, but, so please don't hesitate that if obviously you're going through, it's like, hey, I'd like to see this, this, and this. More than willing to, more than happy to provide that.
Thank you.
And I guess that, the next question is, when do we want another discussion?
Do we have something planned at this point in time or no?
It's, not
Not on
Currently?
paper. Okay.
So it's just a matter of kind of digesting it, obviously, going through it, but, it's, maybe it'd probably be a good thing, especially for the older persons that aren't here is because they'll get a copy of this, I'll email it to them.
Good.
When our next discussion will be for this.
Okay.
Yeah, and to spin off this too, I'm going to say the word, the ARPA discussion is going to come up, which, some projects and some things could be funded through that also. So, it's going to be lockstep with, the budget and the ARPA discussion because of those funds. And that'll be coming forward also.
In my talks with Mayor Blazer, it sounds to me like there's some things being pulled out that are helping organize, not only for the capital improvements, but also to just for us to be able to have an understanding of what's fixed and what's more variable or can be variable. I hope that helps all of us in the process too, to just have that ready for future reference, so. And I'm gonna encourage everybody to read it over now and get your questions answered one-on-one and just be ready to go. So if the question is, and I pose it to the committee, do we want to have a discussion on this again in the next 2 months or 3 months or sooner, 1 month? What are your thoughts?
I would
July.
recommend that we revisit this at the finance meeting in July and then possibly have maybe a committee of the whole. So that, or invite alders to come to that meeting, but maybe we do have a committee of the whole to discuss, bring in the other.
Yeah, I think that we could have a July discussion. I just want to. Yeah, the July 5th would be awesome for me. I'll be in Canada, so. So we want to, you can have your regularly scheduled one, but maybe if we had a separate finance committee or committee of the whole that next week, I'll be back.
Okay.
You know, I just want to put, I
That
won't
might
be
a
here
good
for.
call.
Hmm?
That would be a good idea.
So July, I guess I know this is future. How do the dates go for our meeting in July?
July 5th is the first Tuesday. And then, obviously, the next week, we could have, I'm guessing that's probably, when's municipal court? No, on the 12th. Is it July 12th? Is it the 2nd?
Twelfth and 13th.
Okay. So the 12th would be booked up then in here?
Yes, and I believe, let me check the first floor conference room. I believe they also use the first floor conference room.
Yeah, I
Hold
think
on.
you're right.
I wouldn't, I mean, I'm just throwing this out there, but I wouldn't mind a little bit, like, more of the ability when we're talking this through to be able to get up and be able to, I don't want to say like, maybe like a classroom effect, whereas here I feel like we're a little tied in. If we can be where we can get up and say, what are you talking about right now, Tim? Because, point to it and kind of help me follow through what you're saying. It might be easier to do in one of the rooms where we can get up and move around a little easier.
I would
Just a
agree, 'cause
thought.
I think sometimes just the vastness of this room, it's just, yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
kind of more of an intimate type setting where, kind of, so I would say maybe the Thursday, the 14th of July, we could have. I don't
That's
think-
free.
In here or in
Or-
in one of our rooms?
We could have in the first
Or
floor
the conference room.
Okay,
That's also available.
okay. Jay, were you going to say something? No, okay. So then our next meeting is July 5th, and then the meeting of the whole, are we agreeing that we can do it on July 14th at,
So the committee of the whole would be, Dean would have to call that, and then for the 14th to see if, we can get a quorum for that.
Yep.
I'm
Yeah, I
sorry,
wasn't gonna
work
do
with
it.
Jennifer to get that.
Yeah,
okay.
Yep,
I'll find out.
I can look at the 14th on that.
Committee of the whole on the 14th at what time?
As long as part of the committee's here, or
Ooh, what?
half of the whole is here. What time would work good on the 14th?
Well, are we doing finance and property on that day too, or just the committee of the whole?
I think we're doing finance and property on the 5th of July still, the committee meeting, which is when it normally would be at 5 o'clock.
That was my understanding.
Yeah,
So on the 14th, you're not doing finance and
Well,
property?
it's a committee of the whole.
Right.
Finance and prep for,
oh,
Committee of the whole is committee of the whole.
it doesn't have to be for.
It doesn't have to, yeah, it's for all of the alderpersons.
Okay.
but the subject, so it doesn't matter what that particular meeting, that meeting's about finance.
The agenda,
Right.
the agenda would
Agenda the
be
budget.
Right,
budget.
yep,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's-
Yep.
Yeah.
No, yes, but I see, it's committee of the whole, but we want everybody there.
right.
Yeah, for the budget. So the 14th. what time would be good for the half of the whole here? I mean, 5 o'clock works for me, but
I can make 5 work.
Okay, I'll check with the other alders and see if 5 o'clock will work for them.
Okay.
Okay.
yep, the 5 o'clock on the 14th.
I guess for our sake, what do you hope to see from staff on the 14th? This document with you coming armed with questions, or is there something additionally you'd like to see prepared for you for that date?
Well, I think that gives, Tim said he's going to get this budget out, gives us a month plus for everybody to review.
Okay.
I'm looking for all alders to come in with ideas. So we're looking at if this is the first effort from the staff, this is a preliminary effort, so.
Okay. We just didn't want to make sure, or we want to make sure if you were looking for something specific that we had it ready for you. And that's all I'm trying to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's,
And we can, like Kim said, maybe we can have discussion on ARPA funds by then also,
okay,
on that night.
all right. Anything else? I'm
Is that
saying
what you
that, I don't know if we're in agreement with that, where we can move around, or we can do it in here, it sounds like.
I'll book them both.
Okay,
And then whatever we don't use, I'll take off.
Because you really aren't going to have probably staff here for that night.
No.
So it'd just be the 8 and whoever was curious after that, but they'll be televised yet anyways.
okay.
you
So
should probably-
here or in the, you're gonna book both of them, and we'll have to make a decision at some point, huh? All right,
They're both booked.
all right. Thank you for putting all that together for us, Tim and Shane. Appreciate it. Item 18, audit of the bills. Okay, I don't have these in front of me.
So
Can they,
I'll make a motion to approve check numbers 12,768 to 13,148.
I'll second the motion. Any questions? Seeing none, I put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it.
Jay, was that the ending one, 13148?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else, Jennifer?
No,
Good.
thanks.
Item 19, set next meeting date is, sounds like July 5th at 5 o'clock. Everybody good with that? And then item 20 is to adjourn. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it.